Hi, welcome back to the Dylan Rounds case. Welcome if you're currently here in the live chat. So, I don't know where to begin first of all. I think what I'll talk about first is a potential new searcher. I don't know if it's too late in the case to be introducing new people or not, but I'll just briefly talk about them. Not that it's going to happen, but possibility, right? So, there's an individual named J Chuck, known as on YouTube J Chuck Vlogs. He does videos travelling about, going from different states. He gets all over the bloody place. Even France as well, when trying to join the French Foreign Legion. All kinds of stuff, as well as storm chasing too. Now, how do I know about J Chuck? Well, I came across him in the Kenny Veach mystery in 2021, just like Scott Natal, who quite a few of you know of, okay? So it seems to originate back to the Kenny Veach case, and people have transitioned over onto the Dylan Rounds case, which is interesting. We've all come in the same direction, which is a kind of a cool thing. I don't know if it can happen with other cases down the line, maybe, I guess we'll see. But I know I did tell J Chuck in the past about the Dylan Rounds case, saying how it's kind of similar to the Kenny Veach one in terms of the environment, the person just going missing like that, certain items being retrieved back, certain suspicion with suspects, people, maybe some families here and there, information switching and changing. And whilst others here and there in the Kenny Veach case might have been in denial and said, it's nothing like the Kenny Veach case, it has been and it turned out that way. Telling J Chuck, and I think it's recently caught his attention because he's actually recorded some footage, I believe, of him being out there in Montello. I mean, Montello, Nevada. J Chuck has, done some decent exploring in Nevada, just like the whole Kenny Veach case, because it's Nevada, right? All there. And with Utah being the border next to it, it's maybe not as difficult to transition over. In terms of the downfall limitations, I know J Chuck was talking about restrictions like trying to search on the land, trying not to trespass, private property, private land, that type of stuff. Now, I'm not an expert on that, right? Because I've not really looked too deep into it, but you can understand it from kind of like an outsider who's coming in, who actually wants to be boots on ground, searching the area. What can you do and what can't you do? You don't want to get in trouble. You don't want to cause tension with the family. And I guess that's what's going through J Chuck's mind. And he's kind of like, where should I go? What should I look at? It's a recovery mission. That's how he would internalize it. Recovering the person who has likely passed away and is somewhere in that environment, trying to go, whether it be just searching the land in general, or maybe if there is caves. I believe J Chuck doesn't think he's in the mountainous region, so there's no need to look there in his mind. Bear in mind, he has got experience doing that sort of stuff, going on high peaks, going up steep ravines when searching for Kenny Veach, so he is capable more than. But it's like, who can he reach out to? Like, I'm not an individual that has contacts left, right and centre, but if there can be some kind of noise or awareness or some kind of little nudge which can help J Chuck get in contact with a key individual, so then he could possibly help and search if he wanted to, right? That's the key word. If a person wants to, no one is forced to. Comes a time where people get too embedded in the mind where they're like, you must do it, you must do this, and you must do that. No, it's all voluntary at the end of the day, okay? Because if you start forcing people, it just becomes very unnatural, very toxic, and it's just a downfall. So it's up to J Chuck if he wants to, but it's just like trying to get a hold of the correct people, right? When it came to the Kenny Veach case, the odd family member reached out directly, like on YouTube. It's not quite the same case this time around. I know you've got No Thanks, who is in contact with Candice Cooley, has her number, so maybe if Jay Chuck was to go to No Thanks channel and reach out that way, could be a possibility, or vice versa. You know, just about spreading that awareness, okay? Now, you might be wondering, well, why Jay Chuck? Or like, why is this video partially talking about him? It's because he's just coming on in, right? So there needs to be some kind of understanding and foundations of where to start, who to reach out to, and him himself, who he is. Like, if I had to do like a rough description, kind of like a brief one, when it comes to Jay Chuck, in terms of his exploring, in terms of his stamina, his physical ability, the best way you can describe him is a desert dog. He's a desert dog, just like how he describes himself, covering quite an extreme distance in mileage on foot. Whether it be flat ground, rocky terrain, uneven surfaces, gradients, he gets through it. Now, I don't know how old he is, because I've never asked, but, you know, he can get the job done, right? And I think it stems back from a few different people within the Kenny Veach case, whether it be Sean Horlacker, Jay Chuck, even Jay Silverheels to an extent at a point in time, and even SB Vega's adventures. You know, the terrain and environment they're in, pretty extreme, pretty dangerous in terms of their stamina, their equipment, their planning, whether it be with GPS or not, to that extreme, they can handle it in that terrain. The weather, the dryness, cold traps possibly, staying there overnight. Like Jay Chuck, no tent, lying down on the floor, just like that, natural. Because I think he can connect better with these rough environments, which can be very extreme to most people, but when he's there, he's more at peace, just because he can tap in spiritually. Now, although within the likes of the Dylan Rounds case, spiritually, has it been of any use? Probably not. Trying to contact Dylan, has it been of any use? Not really. So it's had its downfalls. It might have put a negative spin on the spirituality theme, but someone like Jay Chuck uses that when he's in the environment, so he's at peace, he's in control, he knows where to go and where to be guided, right? As for actual video recordings, that could be somewhat limited because he did very short clips. But I think at the end of the day, aside from material and footage, as long as someone is out there and is searching deep or doing what they can, and they're able to tick off things, then that's quite useful. Now, once again, it's another limitation. It's like, what areas have been searched? What areas need to be searched? Because you don't want to keep going over the same locations over and over again. When it came to the Kenny Veach case, several hikers did do the same thing over and over again because there was only a certain area you could really cover, right? A certain route, with it being a canyon, with it being like one path going that way and maybe the odd few going off the other way. It wasn't really vast as the likes of Lucin. I mean, it's Mojave Desert, that is big, but in terms of like the canyons and the certain ways you would go, it was kind of scaled back a bit, basing it off Kenny's whereabouts and the type of hike he would do and the hike he was going to do. You had an idea, so you could kind of like nail it down a bit more, okay? With Dylan Rounds, it's very unpredictable, right? Because Dylan isn't known for going on long walks in the desert or probably hiking. He'll go to his farm, do what needs to be done, go down to Montello when he can or when he wants to, and then after that, go elsewhere, custom farm, in between or after, go to family, visit, talk, hang out, and that's it. So if the person has gone missing in that area on the farm, and then you're looking around, you're thinking, whoa, where do we even begin? That's the thing. I think with Jay Chuck, I don't know about equipment. I know he's got good video quality when he records, when he's out there hiking about, just like SB Vega's adventures and even Sean Horlacker, right? can't exclude Scott Natal. Scott Natal, his video quality isn't as good. Like visually, it's kind of blurry and grainy, but it might just be the camera he has. But with Scott Natal, his videos are longer, which is good, a bit more raw. So you can get an idea of what the area looks like before getting confused and thinking, whoa, we've just cut from one place to another. Where are we at now? He doesn't do that. The videos are longer and he's more hands-on. So that can help if you're trying to retrace his tracks or routes, get an idea of where you exactly are. With Jay Chuck, it's not quite like that, but he does go in deep, right, with his stamina and his distance. I mean, some people in the past would have parked down Jermay Road and then went up Jermay Canyon. Jay Chuck was like, no, screw that. I'm going to park back at the visitor centre, walk all the way down that long road, and then down Jermay Road, and then up Jermay Canyon, and then come all the way back. So he does it quite rough. Now, you know, you can check his channel out if you want, or look back at his previous videos when it comes to the likes of Kenny Veach, get an idea, and just see where things go from there. No harm in just bringing it up briefly and talking about him, just like I've done with other hikers, because when it came to the Kenny Veach case, small little highlights, small little analysis, just like with the Dylan Browns one, not gone as deep because not really needed to, right? And the way some things have gone on, it's best just keeping it at you know, a low level, just acknowledge a few people here and there, and yeah. So maybe if Jay Chuck gets involved in some way at some point, if it's possible, and if he wants to, maybe it can, you know, go in a positive way, right? Just see what happens, right? Leave your thoughts down below. Now, aside from that potential new searcher, I think we could try and look at Don Hatley's location on Google Earth. Bear in mind, it's going to be difficult because on Google Earth, I'm using it on mobile at the moment, it's 2019, so it's not up-to-date imagery. So it could be one of those things where it might not show. I'm just trying to think, 2019 Brenner's trailer. Let's just try and understand this before people write it off and say it's a waste of time, okay? 2019 on Google Earth, you see Brenner's trailer in okay condition back in Montello. Back then, that's where he was living, okay? But from the stories we've heard, Candice Cooley, in previous interviews, it was worded as Don Hatley was working for Dylan before Brenner worked for Dylan. It was the order of Don Hatley, whilst he was working on the farm, introduced Jim Brenner to Dylan Rounds because Don Hatley and Jim Brenner were longtime friends. And at some point, it was Don that encouraged and invited Jim Brenner to move over from Montello into Lucin and squat on the land near the grain shed, because that's the same thing what Don Hatley was doing nearby. So because it's in that order, technically speaking, 2019 imagery might show Don Hatley on the land. If not, I'm just trying to think what limitation is there. Justin Rounds said winter or around winter 2020, Don was working with Dylan and then he ended up getting injured or something. So what I'm thinking is maybe 2019 might be a bit too early for Don to be present on the land. Maybe it was in 2020. So then that would limit me, right, when using Google Earth. So I might have dug myself into a hole right now, but what I'm going to do is just transition over because, as I said, things going on, time constraints, bonfire night, so I don't know if I'll be able to make the live premiere or you know, that type of stuff. So we'll just take a look at the maps right now, basing it off how things have been described. I could even show you a quick screenshot before we get into this, and then just randomly look around very loosely, trying to match certain descriptions up to see if previous trailers match up with certain locations, because we have seen trailers beforehand and it could have been one of theirs, but I wasn't sure at the time. So we might as well go back, briefly check, blindly look. People in the comments, I'll just say it right now, in the live chat, as you're sharing your thoughts and opinions as we go along, some of you might know where Don is living at, or whilst I'm scrolling over, looking at the area, okay, I can read the live chat, but this video is pre-recorded. So if you do say, no, quick, drag the screen back over that way. It's over there, I just saw it. Hey, why are you not listening to me? Why are you ignoring me? It's because it's a pre-recorded video. I can't act out live. You know what I'm saying? It's not a live stream. But what can be done is opinions can be shared in the live chat. Description, coordinates can be copied and pasted for next time if I look closer, because next time when I do have access, I'll look up Google Earth. Is it Google Earth Pro? I think it is. Google Earth Pro, which does have 2020 imagery, which is a little bit more up to date. Not quite, but a little bit more up to date, and it ties in line with probably Don more likely being present because of working with Don. But there's no harm in just checking back now, just to check things off. I can talk about previous findings if I come across anything, and then just go from there. Okay, so hopefully you understand. Let's move on now. So yeah, here's Ty's response of like a rough location. Credit to him for responding back fairly quickly. This is just a screenshot of when it was taken previously. As I told you, maybe a couple of days ago, I said I was going to reach out and ask him, because one person, I think it was Granny T or Granny Escapes, said he knows where Don's trailer is. So I thought, okay, might as well. And I just basically said, I was just wondering, do you have coordinates for Don H's place of living in Lucin? And Ty responded, no, not the coordinates, but it's the only RV west of Lucin Pond. It is located on a power line. Check Google Earth. Okay. Power line, that's a key spot to take a look at. So we need to be looking roughly around power lines, okay? Now, as said, it might be a rough check this, but I'm just doing what I can at this moment in time. It's not going to be the best, okay? Maybe we find another trailer in a different spot. Maybe we can try and question other trailers which might have come across beforehand. Just see what I can do. I'm just wondering, should I turn on the markers? If I still have it in the projects, I think I'll turn on all the markers of Lucin, all the key spots. I think it's worth doing that, to be fair. Yeah, I will, because there might be an indirect marker in the spot described by Ty, okay? Now, as well, I tried to be specific when I was asking this question, because as we know, Don Hatley has moved out of Lucin and is living somewhere else in Utah. Be interesting to know where that is, but it's also just as important to know where he was originally staying at, because it might be able to tie in line with a future video or a future theory, the whole barbecue situation, the whole timing and phone pings, when and how, where, you know, that type of stuff. So it's very important. We'll see what we can do. Let's head on over to Google Earth now and just take this message into mind. Right, here we are. Look at all those markers. I'm glad I kept this on the projects, because it can be very useful at times. If you do want to know what all the other markers are of, make sure to check out my previous video in the past of Lucin. There should be a link down below in the comment section pinned, okay? Just wanted to use these just in case we need to refer back to any, right? Now, one thing I'll just bring up very quickly so there's no confusion. You see this marker down here where it says tracks? I'm not saying they're Dylan's tracks. It's got nothing to do with that with Candice. I just literally put track marks there. Can you see? Because it's literally tracks. I wasn't talking about Dylan at the time regarding this spot, nor has it got any relevance, right? Just wanted to let you know so you're not confused. But as said, my past video will explain it all anyway. The silly reality is, And, okay, there we go. This is a silly reality. You see that marker there, the grain shed? I'll tell you something. When I got involved with the Dylan Rounds case, yeah, I was a month late to join in, but I got involved, spent like 3 days trying to plan and just fucking think, oh shit, what the hell do I do? Shit, what do I say? Where do I begin? And tried, did something, kind of went bad or kind of went, yeah, and then started crawling or climbing up the ladder, whatever you call it. But for some time, no joke, I had no clue where Dylan's farm was. When I was on Google Earth and I typed in Lucin, I was like, okay, well, where's the farm? I can't see it. Where is it? I can't see it. I was going all over the place. I was looking at someone else's farm and got all mixed up. You see how silly that is, how pathetic. But that's just how my brain is. That's how I operate. Limitations, yeah. But all that was needed was coordinates. Now, to some people will be like, oh, what? You couldn't even find it? How could you not find it? Well, when you're zoomed out, forget that marker exists. Can you see a farm on the spot right now? No, you can't see much. You see the ground, you see the terrain, but it's just those tiny little blips, those little dots, like even from that distance, you probably wouldn't be able to see it, right? You zoom in there, would you be able to see it? You might think, oh, there seems to be something going on down there, and then you would zoom in and then probably think, I guess that's the farm, I assume. Now, bear in mind, when I was using Google Earth then and now, there is no Dylan Rounds grain shed marker showing up. It only seems to show up on Google Maps, as you've seen recently, and Google Earth Pro. And by the time I was using Google Earth Pro, I eventually knew where the shed was, right? Does that make sense? As for Dylan's farm, I had no idea where that was either, because that was more confusion. And on top of that, more to do with the timing. 2019, you look here and you think, well, there's no trailers, there's not much going on there. Is Dylan even present? Well, it doesn't seem to be in 2019 at that point when it was recorded. But that little field gave it away, in my mind. But I had to look at the mob crew when it came to the grain shed and Dylan's farm, and even the final phone ping. Back then, I didn't really know too much. And it seemed impossible to get a hold of certain information, because it's all right, viewers who have been long time know all about it and just say, oh, you just go here, you just go there, and it's like, yeah, but it's not specific, is it? It's not like they just say, oh yeah, just go here on that video that's 6 hours long and then you'll find it, and it's like, well, that's not useful, is it? How about you say something like, right, you go on this specific video, this specific channel, and go to the timestamp of 32 minutes and 32 seconds, and then it'll be talked about. And it's like, wow, thank you. That didn't really happen. But at some random point, some individual came out with the coordinates of the grain shed, and that helped a lot. Can't remember who it was, but it did help a lot, right? And when it came to the Kenny Veach case, coordinates were very necessary to track back, to understand what was what, where was where, right? It was very efficient and very needed. And I think Jay Chuck was into the coordinates as well, when searching. So first of all, with the whole Don Hatley situation, Hatley, Lucin Pond, and Ty said west of Lucin Pond. He didn't say southwest or northwest. He literally said west of the pond, near the power line. Now, where is the power line? Well, arguably kind of difficult to see on maps when you're looking for the power line, right? One way I came across it, and it was in the past when I was doing a video, was when we were talking about Lucin and transitioning over to Montello, and then right on the border, you got the power line. Can you see it? And interestingly, it's kind of 3D. It's the one thing that's actually 3D compared to everything else in the area. You see that pole? Doesn't that look 3D? The way it's stood up. It might be the shadows, possibly. And then when you look at that, that's literally looking down at it from above. So kind of like camera trickery in a way, so it can confuse you. Right, so like when you zoom in here, that's what we've got to be looking out for. I assume that Don Hatley's trailer isn't literally next to one, but nearby, I guess. You know, sometimes it can be a bit awkward wording. Is it, are they being precise, are they being for definite, or do they mean something else? So basically, we'll just use the border marker for the power line, and the pond is here. So west, north, east, southwest. So it'll be over this way, right? Just zoom out first of all. Is there any markers which are west of the waterhole and pond and near to a power line? They didn't say how many miles away, right? I know people in the past have said, oh, it's like 5 miles east of Dylan's grain shed. And I checked and it wasn't. This time it seems to be west, but no one said about distance. I think someone randomly said 2.5 miles, but I'm just going to zoom into each location. Right, that's not of interest down there. What's the one down here? I know we're not exactly west. Right, that's not a trailer. I have a feeling it's probably number 4. Could it be number 4? Let's see. I hope it ties in line. Oh, there's a trailer there. Could that be Don Hatley's? Oh, wow. See, this is what I mean. I'm not too sure. I'm glad I've got this project still saved on my device so I can use it, because if we just say you go west and you gotta just look, well, where do you go west? Where you look at the nearest marker west, and this is one of the nearest markers. Is it definitely west? Well, it's at an angle, isn't it? It's kind of northwest-ish, but it's definitely west. It's near to the power lines. As I said, the power lines are here. What direction do they follow? Well, there's a pole there. There's a pole there. There's another pole there. Is there any more? Yeah, there's another pole there. And you can see the track marks as well, can't you? I wonder if I can flip the image. Hold on. It doesn't seem to work, but you see those track marks? It's like someone's used it. And you see those like black lines? They're the power lines. Can you see that black line there in the middle of the screen? And they follow a certain direction. Can you see? There. There's a lot of track marks. Now, where's number 4 marker? It's over that way. Nothing else nearby. So, hold on a minute. Oh, I've got a neck ache. So to stop here and then to go right, where's the next power line? Still there, following the middle of the screen. You can kind of see the faint lines. It must keep on going down that way. I mean, it's across from the railway track, so maybe it isn't, but do you know what I'm saying? It's west of the pond, and it's near-ish to the lines. Correct me if I'm wrong, it's just because, you know, you look at this spot. I mean, what I will do, and I'll say it once again, if I get time, if I get access, if there is another application which has updated imagery, 2021 or 2022 would be more practical. If I go back to this same spot and the trailer's still there and there's nothing elsewhere, then maybe this is it. Okay? Any power lines? There's a marker there. I can't seem to see any power lines in this area though. They were back the way I came. Yeah, I can't really see much going on. Just trying to see if there's like any other markings or anything. So just for reference, move over here. Where's the border? Oh, I can't even see it, that's annoying. But over that way, somewhere over there, is where that main overhead line is, and then it comes a little bit this way, but then ends up going more towards Lucin and Dylan's place, right? So, is there a way of getting a marker down, coordinates? There you go. Here's the coordinates for this trailer, if it's still there to this day, I'm not too sure. If you want to check it out yourself, feel free to do so. The coordinates are on screen right now, okay? Let me know if this is Don Hatley's trailer or not, right? Just leave it up for a couple more seconds so you can read it, copy, paste it, type it in, whatever. You can also pause the video, rewatch it, rewind it, whatever, right? It's not going to disappear, okay? So, I mean, what are the characteristics of this spot? Now, some of you would have already seen this, okay? Who owns this land? I'm not too sure. He's squatting. Does this look like someone's squatting? I don't know. I mean, you can see like fences, can't you? Some kind of fence going on. I don't know if there's any animals present, any chickens or not. And then within like the fenced area, you've got this white RV trailer, neatly uniformed and by the side of some kind of shed, it looks like. Now, Candice Cooley said, although Don Hatley was squatting on the land, he was better off and better equipped than the likes of Brenner in terms of certain equipment, vehicles. Don Hatley had a Harley Davidson motorbike, I believe, and a decent truck. So that could be his trailer, possibly. It looks like a trailer. There's not really any others in the area. We can zoom out and just double check, right? No harm. What are these markers up here? Number 27. With number 27, it appears to be some kind of abandoned barn. I don't know why, some kind of abandoned barn. And then down this dirt road, near to it, you've got a house here. Can you see? What's that all about? How far away is it from number 4? If that's Don Hatley's trailer down there. Okay. I'll give you the coordinates very briefly for this location in case you want to explore it yourself or question it. There you go. The coordinates are on screen right now. Hopefully you can read them clearly. There you go. So I don't know who owns this or if anyone still lives here. It appears to be abandoned, one of the buildings at least, because it looks like the roof is caved in and there's bits of wood scattered about. But then when you look further down, that does look like a house and it looks like a decent structure. If any of you know what this area is or if anyone still lives there, feel free to let me know. Leave a comment in the chat, okay? So you've got the coordinates now. Right. Anything else going over here? No, I remember that. There's a pond. So, you know, worth taking into mind. There's more than one pond in Lucin. Over this way, another pond, bit bigger. Some kind of shed, storage unit from the looks of it. And then up here, you've got a container. I think it's a container. Someone said it was a trailer, but it looks very long to be a trailer. I'll drop the coordinates now so you can take a look. Okay. You note that down if you want. Also, bear in mind, if I don't drop coordinate markers for everything, or you know, if you go back to the Lucin video or the Montello one and are like, oh yeah, but what about all these other places you've marked down? What about the coordinates? Where are they? Well, I think to an extent can be explained. You know, bottom right corner of the screen, there's coordinates. And those coordinates are basically the area I'm in. I'll just double check just to make sure it kind of works. 41, 25, 04, 114, 01, 09. 41, 25, 04, 114, 01, 09. It's like the same coordinates. And then look, if I move it, look at the bottom right corner of the screen, the coordinates change. So wherever I'm zoomed in, the coordinates, bottom right corner of the screen, are of the location. So you can, I don't have to drop the coordinate pin down all the time again. Number 11, what's up here? Some kind of barn building going on. We don't need to go too far up, as I said, because that's not exactly west, but you get the idea that there seems to be some other things going on, right? Like, you got that farm there. Now, is that the farm they were talking about, the guy in the mountains or something? What Candy's referred to? I'm not too sure. Could be. And then some of these markers are a bit too low down and more south than west, so I can't imagine that. We'll just briefly zoom in on him. What's number 1? Yeah, you look at number 1, you see all those buildings there. You know, decent sized as well. So there must be some kind of activity going on. I mean, I know it's a ghost town, but when you zoom out and you see all the different markers and places of interest, it actually is a little bit more active than you think. I mean, when you're actually there, it might not be, but you know, like when you zoom out and you say, that's a ghost town, and a couple of those markers are of either property, farms, sheds, containers, the chop shop, all kinds of stuff, right? Speaking of the chop shop down here, has anyone visited it since? Oh, is it not loading in? Fuck's sake. Oh, I got the wrong one, stupid idiot. This one here. I'd say it's more east, southeast of southeast of Dylan's grain shed. Okay, I'll drop you the coordinates right now. There's the coordinates. Okay. Not heard really anyone talk about this spot. It's gone very quiet, so if we can get a conversation going, or, you know, I might even do a little repeat video, just a very short one to try and start a discussion. We've been successful with the wash. We've been successful with something else and then something else. You know, it's worked. If we just home in on these small little points, whether they be cleared up or not, the likes of Ty Corbyn has debunked or answered some of the unanswered questions within some videos, so that's useful as well. Some of you might wonder, why do I go back over some things which have been covered? Because they get forgotten about. You see other people's channels that might bring up a key question, a key point. They might have found something interesting, some audio or a photo, and then it's forgotten about because it's 6-10 hours long of them talking, and they never refer back to it ever again. And they might have brushed over something very important. So, although my videos aren't as long, they still can be kind of long at times. I appreciate the people that are able to watch most of them, or a certain length of the video, because they are long. Time zone as well can be awkward for some people. The reason why I have the time zone as how it is, so it's somewhat practical for me, but also mainly for the viewers, and the majority are from the US, so it makes sense for the videos to be suited at that time so they can watch it, right? It makes sense. There's a few fireworks outside. So yeah, coordinates on screen. Some people have said this area is dodgy, but you got to be careful in the area if you're going to be recording or something. I don't know if anyone's actually visited it since Dylan's disappearance or not. If any of you know, feel free to leave a comment. Once again, I'll link back to this sometime in a random small video, okay? So we're not going to forget about it, don't worry. So we've got Dylan's farm here. We've got the grain shed here, which is also where Brenner's trailer was at. In terms of the pond is here, and the direction Brenner went, where the phone was also found. And then a bit further on, west-ish, over this way, number 4 is the trailer, the RV trailer. Here. Now, with someone like Ty saying it's the only trailer over that way, that could be the case. If there is any other trailers nearby, this is 2019, so it is outdated. Take that in mind. I'm just working with what I've currently got. And from looking at these areas here, these markers, as I said, most of them are either buildings, barns or containers, no RV trailers. This is the only RV trailer west. So it does tie in line with what Ty said. And down here, there doesn't seem to be any trailers, just bits of dirt or mounds or containers like that there, or a barn or a shed, whatever it may be. You get the idea, don't you? Okay. Is there any other trailers of interest? I think that's the brass shed. Is it really posh, that brass? I just want to see, I'm sure there was a trailer somewhere. There you go. We'll just refer to this one, okay? We might as well whilst we're here. I don't know who this is. There might just be campers. This could be a good example of people camping in the area. It appears to be near something very black. I don't know what that is. If any of you know, leave a thought. Just drop down the coordinates there, as you can see on screen. If you want to note them down, you can. Now, this is 2019, I know. But it's interesting now, you've got two white RV trailers parked by the side of each other with two vehicles and what appears to be two ATVs or quad bikes. So maybe they are exploring the area, or maybe... No, they must be exploring the area, because if they've parked up here and it looks like they're pretty well equipped with the quad bikes, there must be camping out there and then using the quad bikes, ATVs, to get about to explore elsewhere whilst camping in that spot. It makes more sense, right? If you agree down below, leave your thought, or if you know who this could be, leave your thought. Okay? I can't go back in time now because I'm not on the correct application, but bear in mind, in 2013, which is probably too long ago, in 2013, there was an RV trailer parked behind that tree, okay, right next to the pond here. It was just parked there with the vehicle. I don't know who it was, probably just someone camping, right? I mean, although it's a ghost town, people do still hike in the area every now and then, probably not in huge numbers, like how Ivor Zardovsky said, you'll meet the odd few people passing by on the road, might get the odd delivery, but not too much traffic, right? Okay. So I think to be efficient with time, that's the best location I can think of, this one here. How do I map it out? Well, I'll try my best. I don't know if I'll be able to do it properly. We'll just see. Which is the best way to go? You know, you got to take in mind, you've got the railway tracks there. So, and then you got the border there. So, where is the nearest train crossing? Apologies if it starts flicking about. Just got to try and find it. I think there was one somewhere else. No, that goes into Nevada, doesn't it? Fuck me. Where is a crossing? There we go. Boom, 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 boom. Good. Right, so I'm just going to do a very, very, very rough one, okay? Some people might like it rough, I don't know. That sounds a bit weird, me saying that. Oh no, going to the miles, man. I want to do the miles. Yeah, there you go. I'm just measuring the distance, okay? This might not be Don Hatley's trailer, but I'm just doing it for precaution, okay? Just in case it turns out it is. And then I don't have to, like, return back quite exactly. Okay, so there's a pathway there, which runs in parallel to the tracks. Oh my god, what's happened there? Would he have gone left or right? I mean, there's another set of bloody railway tracks, isn't there? Bloody hell. Where do you cross them? Why does the image look weird colour all of a sudden? What's going on? I'm looking for a crossing at the moment. Okay, that's why I'm going all over the place like a madman. We'll flip the screen this way just for now. Oh, where is the bastard? We've got across one set of railway tracks. Hang on. Apologies if you get dizzy. Not much can do about this at the moment. Let's track back. Come on. Right, it's over here. That's where the nearest one is. So, oh, is there really a need to cross over? Maybe not. Oh, fuck. Is that a wash? Right, do you know what? Scrap that. Probably too messy anyway. We'll do a longer route. Let's just say there. Oh, I wish that fucking white thing would get off. There you go. There. Somewhere there, let's just say. And we've got to find the waterhole, right? Just follow that road. Fucking hell. And me giving directions, it'd be fucking nightmare, wouldn't it? Seems a bit too long, doesn't it, in terms of the distance? But at least I found it. There might be a shortcut. Down here. Oh, for God's sake, why does it do that, you stupid twat? And then let's just rush across because I can't be bothered. So let's say 20 to 25 miles. Is that too far away from Brenner's place of living to that other place, number 4, the marker? I don't know. It seems a fair distance. I mean, it's still less than Montello. Comparing it, though, to how other people have described it in the past, other people have said it's 5 to 6 miles away from Dylan's grain shed. So, obviously, with this being like 20, 25, it doesn't really tie in line with the descriptions, right? But those people were saying more it was 5 miles east, whereas Ty said it's west and near a power line. As said, the number 4 marker, we couldn't really see any power lines, but a bit further south, nearer to the Lucin Montello border, you saw those power lines there, so maybe that counts. As said, it's rough. It was going to be a rough version anyway. Kept forgetting to do it, so I thought I'll just do it now, refer back to. And as well, we could look back at those previous markers, which we did. Might re-jog your memory, you might investigate into it or know who is who, because kind of like with that white van with those hikers where it captured in the background, almost lurking. I know some people were like, yeah, man, it's nothing, it's just simply parked up. What's wrong with that? People camping, people do that in white vans, whatever, blah, blah. Yeah, but triggered someone's memory and said, oh, that reminds me of that individual that used to have one or currently does. Then they reached out to Ty and told him, and Ty was like, oh, I don't know about that. So, it can go on to new leads, and if not that, it can clear up confusion. It's like a win-win, isn't it? So, there you go. Can I accept that? There we go. Which way are we facing? Should we try and face north? Okay. Here we are north. Why is it cut off? That's a bit of a bastard. Grain shed, driving up that way to the waterhole, crossing over the railway tracks, possibly other shortcuts to go, avoiding the railway tracks, coming all the way down here, and then getting to this trailer. That could be Don Hatley's. It could be. I'm not too sure. I'm not an expert. So if you know, confirm it down below. If you can debunk it, feel free. If you have any additional questions or points, make sure to do that. Okay, so I think that wraps it up for now. Once again, J-Chuck Vlogs. Make sure to check his channel out. See how things play out there. Maybe some cooperation with the likes of Scott Natal, Les Natal, and J-Chuck. as they have kind of cooperated with each other in the past with Kenny Veach, whether it just be in the YouTube comment section, coordinates, hike routes. But it's kind of interesting how all in the same area, once again, despite moving on, all in the same area in terms of the case. So that's all good. Is there anything else to say? I mean, like some videos, like when if it could be considered messing about. I mean, some people seem to take that the wrong way or something, but the ironic thing is when I started this case, I was actually accused of being miserable in terms of the tone and voice, because the way I've always seen it for most part of it, even from day one with the Kenny Veach case, I kept a straight face because, one, that's what I normally do, so I might as well try and be as realistic as possible. Aside from talking a lot, because that's the complete opposite in real life, I'm very quiet, but obviously I've got to talk because I can't just sit here in silence, because then it just wouldn't work with obviously covering the case. So you got to work around some things, but yeah, keep a straight face because that's natural most of the time, just being realistic. But also, what else? Well, it's because of the topic in the case, what you're talking about. It's not exactly a positive thing. It's kind of, if I said it's fun to cover or fun to look at and explore, that would be taken the wrong way as well. People would say, it's not fun looking into a missing person case, you know, people are suffering. So I think maybe more appropriate wording to avoid all the unnecessary resistance is it's interesting to look at this stuff. I mean, you've seen it with all the people with the true crime and serial killers. Just get some people that obsess over that. Okay, now, my God, look, I've been compromised. Me just saying that then, I think it's already backfired. People are sending explosions my way. Did you hear the bang? I'll get blown up in a second. If I do make it to the live video premiere, I'll tell you if I've been blown up or not, if I'm missing any limbs. But yeah, from day one, I kept a straight face just because of the reasons how I explained. Because if you did smile, what? You say, hi, welcome to the video. So we're going to discuss a really bad mystery today of a person who has suffered severely and another person is missing. It's a very sad case, as you can tell by the look on my face. Okay, now my face didn't feel normal then because I don't smile much. Actually, I did smile once, but I scared someone. So it's probably best keeping a straight face. And if I do a certain smile or a smirk, then I think I end up being called a psychopath. So really, there's different avenues to go down, which is unique in a way. But yeah, as for Don Hatley, as I said, if you know where he's at, whether it be the coordinates of his place in Lucin or / and his new place somewhere in Utah, feel free to drop them. We got to work about it somewhat correctly because, you know, you start revealing someone's location, people get all bitchy and moany, you know what I'm saying? It's not like a standard house property thing, it's more of a trailer, so maybe you can work around it a bit more. But I guess we'll just see how things go. I just think it's useful for me knowing the location because it's yet another marker to refer back to, aside from the grain shed and the farm. I might be able to find something within. And I'll say one more thing, which I've noticed as well. Sometimes when I do longer videos, as I'm talking along, and I've done a poll where I end up saying, oh, would you like me to cover this video next? Would you like to see coverage on that in a future video? Those are ideas which I've just come up with on the spot within a video where I'm talking on the spot with no script. Just about every single video, 0 script. Might have the odd few prompts, more to do with analysing an interview which was 2 hours long. I'll have bullet points and that's it. As for now and all the other videos and the map analysis, no script whatsoever. I've got to think of words and sentences on the spot in my head. Sometimes it works, other times it's like and then I malfunction like a robot. But I do find reading a script is harder for me. I end up reading the same line over and over again, or getting lost where I was supposed to be reading. That's why when I tend to read out paragraphs on news articles or Facebook posts, I only read so much and then analyse it and then read the next part. If I analyse the whole thing after reading it all, I end up just reading the whole thing out again, so it gets confusing. So that's just how that works. Yeah, but as I was saying, the long videos, because I'm talking so much or I'm looking at random stuff here and there, and then something, whether it be in an article or a finding visual, something clicks in my head and then I think, oh, I can actually look at that next. So I'm generating at times video ideas whilst making a video right now. It's not words this time around, but I do have like 1 or 2 other videos to take a look at. Just need to set them up in place and then make them for whenever, okay? So that's it for now. Hopefully the video wasn't too boring. Thanks for watching, appreciate it. And I'll see you next time. For now, good night and goodbye.
You hear that? No, I don't either. Because there's nothing there to hear anymore. I used to wear headphones, music blasting into my ears to drown out the voices. I used to scream so I didn't have to listen. But those voices, they could cut through concrete, 10 feet thick.